I feel the tears that you cry. I see the pain in your eyes calling to the heart of me. I heard the words that you spoke in your mind, saying today there's no hope, but I just wanna let you know troubles won't last through the night. I've been singing through the evening. You say there's no use for your life, but you worship even when things ain't so right. Just sing out your song through the night.
A few years ago, I went to Michigan to bury my grandmother, who is very, very dear to me. We were very close. She had Alzheimer's for several years before her death, so the years prior to that occurrence were somewhat difficult. And I can remember when we were at the graveside and I was given the task of doing the eulogy, and my friends, I could barely do it. In fact, I left out a lot of stuff just because I had to get that thing shortened down to a level that I could get through any of it. And I really, really had a hard time. And but I remember at the graveside playing a song that was given to me by Roger Ryan, one that he didn't ever release. Roger is a producer. He is a tremendous, tremendous musician. He's been nominated for Grammys, and he happened to be a student of hers at one point, and he shared this song with me. And he's like a member of the family to us now after having spoken with him about how much she meant to him personally. He gave me this song, and it's just simply the title, Trouble Won't Last Through the Night. And I remember how encouraging that was to hear that music, better than anything I could have said anyway. And it was such a comfort to me, because in a very, very troubling time for us and a very difficult moment, those words were so meaningful. Trouble won't last through the night. You know, it reminds me of the experience of perhaps the apostles. Paul in particular, he had been chained, he had been beaten, he's been stoned and left for dead. He's had to go to prison. He's been through a lot in his life, and he had seen a lot of death. He had seen many of his friends, I'm sure, who had not made it, because at different various times during the first century, the Christian church was being extremely persecuted. And I know that in those days he was surrounded by a lot of things that would have given him cause to wallow in depression perhaps. But yet we read in his words, Philippians chapter 4, verse 4, always be full of joy in the Lord. I say it again, rejoice. And I always read that, and sometimes when well-meaning people share things like that, when you're having a hard time, it can come across a little bit trite. And if I were to stop there and just share that part of the story, I don't think it's enough. I think there's more to it. And in fact, the next thing that he says, let everyone see that you are considerate in all you do. Remember, the Lord is coming soon. The Lord is coming soon. How can I rejoice during difficult, dark times that are full of chaos and confusion and mourning and sickness and death and all of the things, quite frankly, that were predicted and things that we're surrounded by to this very day? How do you rejoice in the midst of all of that? Well, I am reminded of the words of Jesus as well, who said, in this world you will have trouble. If you stop there, that's pretty depressing. In this world you will have trouble. Well, thanks. That's glad to know what I already knew. But Jesus continues with that. He says, but take heart, I have overcome the world. And that really is what makes Paul's words here so meaningful. The Lord is coming soon. You know, I think it would be well for us to remember that God gave us a holy imagination. And one of the greatest things we can do to deal with the difficulties we're surrounded by is to rejoice. Why can we rejoice? Because, as the word says, Jesus is coming again. Okay? What if we were to use that imagination to give it to the Lord and say, please help me to visualize these things? Maybe we can actually visualize that those things that are dragging us down, okay, coronavirus, whatever it may be, what if we were to be able to visualize that Jesus is putting that to death? That Jesus is going to put death to death, that Jesus is actually winning the battles over all of these things that can drag us down so easily. What if we were to actually visualize that and imagine Jesus defeating those things, and the ultimate way he did it was at the cross? Imagine that these things are beaten, that they are actually lying there dead, and they won't come back, because that's ultimately what's going to happen. The Word tells us that the final thing that Christ defeats is death itself. And that's coming. That's a promise that we can claim. What if we were to use our imagination to imagine Jesus coming again, the skies bursting open, and those of us that are still alive joining those of us who have passed on before us, our loved ones and friends, our fellow believers we've never met, and joining them together in the air to meet Jesus? What if we were to imagine those scenes more frequently? I think if we were to do that, it would take some of that focus off the hurt, because it's so easy to focus on the pain and the hurt and the chaos. But we can focus on the promise. We can visualize the promise that Jesus is coming again, and he's defeating all of these things, and trouble won't last through the night. There will be joy in the morning. What if we were able to rejoice knowing that, believing that, and grasping onto that? I just want to challenge you, if you're watching this, spend some time every day thinking about Jesus defeating all of the things that trouble you, defeating all of the things that are surrounding us that are so negative, and ultimately imagine Jesus coming back. I think it is healthy, I think it is holy to actually imagine what Jesus is going to do, fulfilling the promise. I'm coming again. There's reason to rejoice. Troubles won't last through the night. God, bless us and give us holy imagination to see and to visualize just a glimpse even of what is coming, that you're going to defeat all of this chaos, confusion, death, sickness, and sorrow, and that you're coming again. And give us that imagination to even get a glimpse of you coming again and the skies bursting forth and seeing you. So we ask for that. Give us that hope. Build in us that reason to rejoice, because you've overcome the world and troubles won't last through the night. Amen.